Hello, Juan Pablo. Here are your carburetors ready to test. And let's get a close up here. You can see your mark is on the carburetor bodies. Let's go over a few things. Well, I've got this off the tripod. The adjustments we're going to be making will be the idle mixture screw here. This one is blanked off, so don't mess with it. We're making the adjustments on idle mixture screw here. This is your idle speed here. This controls the amount of play between the second barrel and the first barrel. You want just a little bit of play, but not so much that it makes the first barrel open up artificially. And the lost my train of thought. This pin right here is attached to the first barrel. Goes down and this little is attached to the first barrel, and this screw right here comes down and touches on it to help close the throttle plates when the after the Solexes have been after you've floored the accelerator and all 4 barrels have opened up. When you chop the throttle, this pin right here down here activates on this screw right here and closes the second barrel throttle. And so you need to enough movement here to where things do not get bound up, but also that they will move. Let's see, you have a little bit of adjustments you can do here in terms of lining up your choke wire, but not too much because it can bind up the mechanism here. And then of course your throttle linkage. So those are your basic adjustment points. Now then, mounting the carburetors, get them mounted loosely and then put your air log in place. I'll have studs in here, I'll put those in later on. Put your air log in place and secure it to where you're using the air log as a mounting, as an alignment device, and then you tighten down your carburetors to where they will not move. Can remove, then you take the air log off and you can get underneath here and tighten up the rest of the carburetors. That's because there's enough movement that if you don't align the carburetors with the air log may not always go on. All right, now then, tightening up the fuel lines. Always stabilize the fuel fitting in the carburetor float bolt cover, and then you just do your wrenching up here. Don't want to damage the threads. Doing a cold start, and I'll go through the adjusting process. I'm going to use our synchrometer. Get those online. The BK1-35 it fits these carburetors perfectly right out of the box. And what we're looking for is minimal airflow through the second barrel. Anything below 2 or 3 is good, and we're looking for balanced airflow through the first barrel of each carburetor so that we have a balanced engine. And I'm going to be using the this RPM scale right here. We're going to be using the RPM right here, and we're going to be using the lower scale for adjusting purposes. And what we're going to do is screw these idle mixture screws in and out until we get the best idle and best acceleration. And it doesn't take much, just a little bit of adjustment. And then we will synchronize the airflow through each carburetor with the synchrometer. And that is basically all you have to do with these carburetors. They're very straightforward and very easy to work with. Now then, fuel, fresh fuel. You need fresh fuel and properly filtered fuel, good quality fuel. If the carburetors, the flow of the fuel, for your information to help you out, obviously fuel goes into the float bowl, fills up the float bowl, and there's a 2-part float bowl inside here. There's one portion for the accelerator pump circuit and one portion for the mains. And so your accelerator pump circuit is on the front here, and the fuel goes into the accelerator pump circuit down here and through the diaphragm, and it's pumped along this passageway right here, goes through past a check valve right here. There's a check valve in the float bowl, there's a check valve right here, and then it comes straight up here and comes through the accelerator pump discharge nozzle. And we'll come down here and show you the nozzle up inside here. There's the nozzle right here. You can barely see it, but that's the nozzle, and it shoots fuel into the throat of the carburetor. And if at some point you don't have acceleration, then you've got a problem in the accelerator pump circuit. If you lose idle, then you have a problem with the idle jet, which is right here. There you go, G55 right here. And these are both the same. This one is not used because it does not idle on the first barrel, so that's just plugs a hole. And this one right here is what the car idles on. So if you lose idle, you have something plugged in this jet right here or in the circuit that it controls, which is these passageways inside here. That's what these plugs are for. That's where they've drilled passageways. Same here. So if you ever kind of rev up the engine but you lose idle, that's the problem right there. Just remove that, clean it out, maybe squirt some carb cleaner inside the passageways. You should be good to go. Very straightforward, very simple carburetors. Now let's make sure we're on camera here. We're going to get it. We're going to warm up the engine. You can't adjust the carburetors until the engine's warmed up. Okay. All right. Now we have, like I said, cold start. I haven't started these in a while, so always make sure you got fuel. You go to your fuel pump priming lever on this side of the engine. Make sure the fuel is pumped up there. Sometimes it's not on the cam. The fuel pump operates off of a cam inside the engine on top of the oil pump. So if you don't get any resistance on the fuel pump priming lever, bump the engine over. Now we have resistance and pumping. Now get the fuel pumped up. Let's give it a couple of squirts. All right, switch on. Choke. Oh, let's see. Before we do that, let's mention before we do that. Let's discuss the choke fast idle. Fast idle is determined by this screw right here, and I will set that when I get the carburetors off because it's impossible to get to. It's 15 thousandths clearance between this screw and the mechanism that the choke lever operates. And you'll notice that when I move the choke lever up and down, that this linkage is going to move. All right. The only thing you're doing when you choke is you're moving your choke butterflies, and you're also increasing the throttle. It's like you're putting your foot on the throttle. That's your fast idle. Okay, let's see. Switch on, choke. That's how they should start. This car does not like to sit long term. So use the car. Don't let it sit. How about that for idle? Cold. Now I'm going to rev it up to get us up to temperature, up to operating temperature. thermostat opened up. Now you're going to adjust the carburetors independently, so you're going to disconnect your throttle linkage here. Make sure these are independent of each other. We'll check our airflow here, minimal airflow there. And we'll tighten up the clearance right here on this. You have to hold on to your throttle there. Alright, now we're going to check our airflow. Obviously I've already adjusted these things. It's running 6. Running 5.5, almost 6. So what we can do is we will bump this up just a smidge. And there we're up to 6, give or take. Now we're going to adjust our idle mixture screws one at a time. We're going to screw it into the engine stumbles, screw it out to the engine stumbles and get the midpoint. Doesn't take much. Here our idle start to drop off. We back it out. Alright, first barrel. First carburetor. And here it starts to stumble. Alright, now we're going to get a visual on that. We go over here to the Alright, we're going to watch the RPMs alter or adjust as the going to watch the RPM change as I do the idle mixture screws. Alright, see our RPM dropping off. Then we're going to back it, the screw back out where we wanted our best idle without drawing too much air, and you can hear that through the throats. And you also don't want any backfire when you're accelerating. So we do the other carburetor. And see our idle dropping off. Now back it out, pick up our idle. Best idle. Now right now, we're running about 775, almost 800, which is a nice idle. Just for fun, let's see how low this thing will idle. There's 575. This is an indication of the quality of the machine work on the carburetors. There we go. We can get this thing to idle at 425. Don't want to lug the engine, but I'll give you an idea how nicely the engine will operate at low RPM. Now we're going to pump the idle back up to 750 or 800. We're going to check our come back here, get out our synchrometer, get our readings. So we're drawing the same amount of air. So we're at right there, we're at 7 and 6. So we screw this one back in. Pick up a little RPM. We're in about 800 RPM, which is fine. 6, almost 7. 6, almost 7. And then next you attach your throttle linkage so that nothing changes when you attach your linkage. That's why you've got a turnbuckle right here so you can get proper adjustment. Pop it in place. Nothing changed. Now we're going to accelerate and make sure we don't get any popping because it's running lean. If it runs lean, we back these out a little bit. Okay, excellent response. Now, just for fun, we'll try a hot start. Alright, got you some good carburetors. And I appreciate your patience in letting us do them. These turned out really well. Thank you very much.